everybody? Welcome back to Vibes with Sid, and today we are going to do another car story time. So today we're going to talk about the time that there was ants flooding out of my ceiling, as you can tell by the title. So basically this happened in like 2021. I'd say I was looking for an apartment, and one of my coworkers were like, hey, I have a friend, she has a house on her property and she's looking for somebody to rent it out. So I said, shoot, bet, okay, give me her number. Got her number, went looked at the property, everything worked out. I had me a new house. Now it was an older house. It was built in like the 1800s, sometime in there. So y'all, it was such a weird setup. Like, there were no doors. The only door in the house was front door, back door, and bathroom. There were no doors. It was like basically just hallways all throughout. There were a lot of little nooks and crannies, and y'all, it was a nice house, like, for me at the time, but you could tell it was an older house. And so everything goes well. I move in. As we're moving in, one of my guy friends, he was like, he looked up at the ceiling and he was like, hey, you might want to watch that spot right there. You know, he said, it looks like they just patched it up recently, real quickly, basically like a little slap over job. And I was just like, yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. But at this point, I've already signed the lease, y'all. I was desperately looking for a place to stay, because where I stayed is hard to find an apartment or anything for under $1,200 a month. So I was desperately looking for a place to stay. This place was $850. It was a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. It had a washroom and everything. So in my head, y'all, I'm just like, okay, I'll keep an eye on it, cool, whatever. So about I say a couple weeks go by, and y'all, that spark started leaking. I said, no. I was like, no, he was right. So I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, she told me, you know, her husband does the repairs and stuff. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I let her know that it's leaking, and she's like, okay, well, he gonna try to get by there, you know, keep in mind we're both employed, like, he can't get around too good. I'm like, can't get around too good, so how is he gonna fix repairs around here if he can't get around too good? I'm sorry, y'all, but but I don't know. That's what I was thinking in my head. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I wait. A couple more weeks go by, and this spot, instead of it just leaking, the drywall starts to fall, because it's leaking so much that it's just soaking up the drywall and it's falling too. So not only is my like ceiling leaking, the drywall's falling. So yeah, I had to take it back to the olden days, and I just got me one of them totes. Instead of a bucket, I got like the clear moving totes, and I just sat it underneath so that the water could drip in there, so that the drywall could just fall in there. And so I did that, kept messaging her, we'll get by. Couple more weeks go by. At this point, I'm literally at this house for a month, I think. Like, I stayed there for a month. Couple more weeks go by, no one comes, nothing happens, it's still leaking. So at this point, y'all, I'm just like, okay, like, I'm gonna keep saying something to her, but again, just keep in mind that was the only place that I had to stay. Like, yeah, I could go back and stay with family, but y'all, I love animals. I had a dog, 2 cats, and a lizard. Okay, so like, moving back with family was an option, but it wasn't. And so I'm like, okay, cool, I'm putting up with this leaky ceiling or whatever. I'm dumping this bucket out, and I'm still messaging her. So one night I said, you know what, I want somebody to see my new place, and I want somebody to come over and just hang out with me. Like, I was lonely, I was bored. So I hit up my friend, and we gonna call her Sydney. So I hit up Sydney, and I'm like, hey, you want to come over? And she like, yeah. So I go pick her up. She come over. Me and Sydney sit down. We watching TV. We chilling. This is not her real name. I'm changing everybody's names with my story times. So me and Sydney are sitting down watching TV, and we chilling. And I'm like, I'm gonna pop a pizza in the oven, because we were hungry. She's like, okay, babe. Pop the pizza in the oven. Come back. We chilling, and y'all, it starts pouring down. When I say pouring down, I mean like pouring down. And Sydney doesn't have a car, so I was like, oh shoot, I gotta take her home, which is not an issue, y'all. I did not care to pick up and take her home, but it was pouring down so bad that, like, I was scared, because I was like, what if I can't see the roads later? But I'm just, you know, ignoring it, letting it pour down. So I go in the kitchen to check on the pizza, and the pizza's done. So I pull it out the oven or whatever, and I walk over to the fridge. Well, as I'm walking over to the fridge, I see something moving on the ceiling. I look up, y'all, there are ants flooding out the ceiling. When I say flooding, I mean you literally could not even see the color of the wood that's underneath the drywall because there were so many ants. All you saw were black specks. I don't know if they were ants or termites or what, but like literally all you saw was black specks. Like it was so freaking bad, y'all. And then of course this had to happen when I had company over. So I'm sitting up there thinking, God dang it, like why you gotta do this when I got somebody here? So she looking up, she freaking out, I'm looking up, I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. What do you, y'all, please help me understand, what are you supposed to do when there's ants flooding out of your ceiling? Like you can't spray them because then they're just gonna fall on you. So there's literally like, there's nothing you can do. And so I hit up the landlord, and at this time it was like 11 o'clock. So I was kind of hesitant to hit her up, but then I'm like, no, because I've been telling you for the past the past month that my ceiling has been leaking and you still ain't came yet. So I don't care if it's 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I'm going to call you. I'm going to text you. You're going to answer and we're going to figure this out. And so she says, y'all, she says, well, I got a can of ant spray. And I said, okay, whatever, cool. I'll take it. I'll take the ant spray. Even though at this point, I don't know how I'm going to use this ant spray. I'm just like, well, okay, I guess I'll take it. I guess I'll figure it out. But, you know, she also said that he was going to try to get by again. He was going to try to get by and fix it. She also put that in there too. But she said, here's the ant spray for now. So I got the ant spray or whatever, and I looked at my friend, and y'all, I knew she was ready to go home. I would be ready to go home if I was at somebody's house and that happened. So I knew she was ready to go home. So I know it's pouring down, it's raining, but I'm just like, you want me to take you home? And she was like, yeah, I'm about ready to go. And I'm like, I bet. I bet. So we get in the car. I take her home or whatever. I come back home, I lay down. I had to work the next morning, like early at like 7, 8 a.m. I think. So I had to go to work the next morning. So this is where we're gonna get to the solution, like how I dealt with it till I could get out of there. When I went to work, I told my manager what happened because I was freaking out, y'all. Like I came into work freaking out because there were still ants trailing in and out the next morning, and I didn't know what to do that night. So, you know, I did what we all do when we're stressed out. Came home and went to sleep. Yes, I did. I came home and went to sleep after that and woke up the next morning, and I figured I will address this whenever I could. So I talked to my manager, and he gave me this good idea, y'all. So thankfully at the time, I still had my apartment. I kept my apartment on the back burner for the first 2 months while I was there because I didn't know what was going to happen, and I was still waiting for my lease to end. So thankfully I kept my apartment, y'all. Keep this in mind. And he was basically just like, okay, so he said, this what you gonna do? Because y'all, my manager is very creative and very helpful, and I think I am so thankful for him. But ex-manager. But yeah, he was like, this is what we're gonna do. Here go a trash bag. He said, you go to the stove, you get you one of them bombs. He said, this is what you gonna do. You're gonna take the trash bag to the ceiling, leave just a little corner open, set the bomb, drop it in there, tape it up, run out the door. And I said, sounds like a good plan. So I go and I told my friend about it. She works with me too. So I told my friend the plan because, y'all, I'm going to need help. I can't do all of this by myself. And plus, I need to get out of there. I'm not staying there, y'all. I had already made up my mind that when I got off work, I was going to pack up whatever I could and take it over to my apartment and then stay there for the night, do the same thing the next day, and go back to my apartment while I figure out how I can get my money back and get out of there. So she had came over with me after work to the house or whatever, and we did the plan, and it worked. Like, we bombed it. We didn't inhale anything. We packed up everything before we bombed it, and all of my animals before we bombed it, and we went back to my apartment or whatever. So we did that. But y'all, keep in mind, I still got to get out this apartment because she's been telling me for the past month and a half almost that this guy was gonna, her husband was gonna come over and fix it, and he never did. So at this point, I'm just like, all right, bro, we need to figure this out, and it's time to get serious. Because based on like the state that I'm in, based on the law, your ceiling has to be intact. You cannot, it is inhabitable if you have a ceiling that is leaking or with a piece missing, you know what I'm saying, your ceiling has to be intact. And technically she was renting that property to me. She is a landlord and I am a tenant, so I have those tenant rights. And so basically I said, okay, let me start pulling out the law, because I really hope that you don't think just because I'm young that I'm dumb, because I ain't never been through this before, don't get me wrong, but Google is one hell of a thing. So I went to Google and I went to research, and I typed up a professional letter. When I say professional, date, time, all of that on a professional letter, even copied and pasted Tennessee state law in it. And I told her, you have two options. Either you can call somebody and get the ceiling fixed. Oh, y'all, that too, she tried to play me. I'm gonna get back to that though. So I was like, either you can call somebody and you can get the ceiling fixed, and you can take that amount out of my check. I mean, not out of my check, sorry. And you can take that amount out of my rent each month, or you can give me my deposit back. Not the rent, you can give me my full deposit back, and I can just get out, and we ain't gotta worry about this no more. So basically the option that she chose was, okay, I'm gonna give you your deposit back and we ain't gotta worry about this no more. Yeah, because you don't want to fix it. Instead of getting it fixed the right way, you want to go slap some drywall out there and get the next tenant in and get them to try to stay. But anyways, back to what I was saying, y'all, she not played me, she tried to play me too. Like during those couple of weeks that I kept messaging her and asking her like when it was gonna get fixed, she actually did call a company out, like a roofing company, and he looked at it and he gave her a quote. And I was sitting right there the whole time. He quoted her like $600 a month, which is why I said that you can take that $600 out of my rent. You know what I'm saying? Like I only owe you $250 or whatever. You could take that out of my rent and we can just do it that way. Sorry, not I only owe her $250, but y'all get what I'm saying. Like it's $600 a month. I'm paying you $850 a month. There you go. You already got the money monthly. Just take it out and just get it fixed the right way. So yeah, she tried to play me. She got them to come over, and then she, after they left, she gonna look at me and go, woo, expensive, ain't it? I said, yeah, it's a roof. Like, what did you think? I mean, I can't stay in here with it like that. So when she looked at me and was like, woo, it's expensive, ain't it? That's when I knew, y'all. I knew. I said, no, she ain't getting this roof fixed. If she think that $3,000 is expensive to fix the whole roof, because, y'all, there were other spots that he pointed out that he said was not insulated correctly, was not done correctly. And if it stayed like that, it was going to be leaks in other areas. So he found other areas in the house that was messed up too, as far as the roof. And so, yeah. So she tried to play me. So when she said that, I was like, yeah, it's finna be some BS. It's finna be some BS. So anyways, I got out of there. Thankfully, I kept my apartment because something told me to, y'all. With the house being old, with me never renting from a private landlord, and with me never renting a house out before, I just felt in my soul, like I was like, just in case we need to do this. And thank God I did. Otherwise, like, I would have been going back home with my mama. I would have been there until I could find a place to stay. So lesson learned. And if you don't learn anything from this, it is when you get your first apartment, first house, whatever, know your rights, know your renters' rights, because these landlords will try to play you down to the ground, especially if you're young. So know your renters' rights and make sure you are paying attention. You know, my friend, he told me, he was like, hey, that spot up there looks like it's been patched up recently, and it looks like a quick job too, so be careful. When he said that, like, I should have listened more, but at that time I couldn't have done anything. But still, you know what I'm saying, keep an eye out. Even if it's something small like that, y'all, keep an eye out. Ask about it before you rent it. You know, look at the walls, look at all of that, because y'all, I just hopped into this place, and I checked it out before, but I just hopped into this place because I was so desperate, and then I got put right back where I was. So just pay attention, y'all. Read your lease. Make sure your lease looks right. Read your lease. and make sure that you know your renters' rights, and don't be afraid to speak up and copy them renters' rights, copy and paste it into a letter just like I did, and baby, they know not to play with you no more. But yep, that's the story of how the ants was flooding out of my ceiling. And here is a picture. Yeah, it was bad. But thank y'all for listening. If you made it to the end of this video, please comment an ant. Yeah, comment an ant, like, subscribe, and let me know what y'all want to see more of. You know, like, I'm just randomly posting stuff to the page based on how I feel, but I want to know how y'all feel. I want to know what y'all want, so please let me know. Don't be afraid to comment, and thank y'all so much for y'all support. Bye.